Good morning, everyone. As you may know, my name is Musa. I'm an attorney, and I have been for nearly 25 years. Here we talk about things you don't necessarily hear about in the Western media, and today it's going to be a little bit different. Today is the restart of the genocide in Gaza. And when I say the restart, I mean the active portion of the genocide, not the stopping of the reproductive, not the blockade, not the um, food, medicine shortages, and things like that. We're talking specifically now about the active murder of hundreds of Palestinians. And today I want to do something just a little bit different. I want to give you the news only from Israeli news sources. And I will give you the name of the paper and the name of the reporter who wrote the article so you can verify for yourself. And the reason I do this is to show you that in Israel, they have free speech and are able to discuss what's happening. Where in the United States, like Muhammad Khalil, we are not. So we're going to go ahead and I will do another update on Muhammad Khalil. But right now, let's get started with the stories. The cover of the Haaretz newspaper, Haaretz, I believe, actually, is the analysis by Amos Harel. Amos Harel describes the new offensive as the ability to save Netanyahu's political future. In his analysis, what he says is with the actual ceasefire plan that would go into effect, it would return the hostages and pave a way for a peaceful ability, and it would really stop the hostilities. Now, with regard to that, Netanyahu has a great deal of concern to stopping the hostilities. Stopping the hostilities means that business as usual starts back up. Right now, everything in Israel has completely stopped. Tourism, courts, things like that are moving along very slowly. They're in the middle of a war. And so it's a big problem. Consequently, when you're in the ceasefire, things start to get back to normal. And when they start to get back to normal, that's when you have a problem for Benjamin Netanyahu, who's currently under investigation. And he's under investigation for corruption, for taking bribes, for many things that we have yet to find out about. And if you want to scratch the surface, you can watch The Bibi Files by an Israeli filmmaker about Benjamin Netanyahu and the depth of his corruption. The take by Mr. Harrell is that the only reason that they restarted this when everything was going fine and hostages were being returned as they were is to keep Benjamin Netanyahu from going back to court. In the next article, Jack Corey from Haaretz says that mediators pushing for hostages returned feel undermined by Israel and the United States. Throughout the process, the hostages' families have been very vocal about this, and now there have been mediators pushing for the hostages to return, and these mediators are actually U.S. and Israeli mediators. So you had Egypt, the UAE, United States. They were all pushing for this ceasefire. The United States helped Israel break the ceasefire, and here we are in the situation. And so these negotiators, even from the US, Israel, and Egypt, and the UAE, all feel undermined because they feel that the return of the hostages were imminent prior to the renewed attacks on Gaza, killing 400 this morning since 2 a.m. And finally, Ilian Pape's article in the opinion page calls Trump and Netanyahu um, co conspirators in devising the most heinous crime of the century. And now they have verified in the ICC that there is a genocide. And the genocide is indeed occurring, and it's occurring from everything to stopping the reproductive rights of the Palestinians, to blockading them, to bombing civilian infrastructure with dumb bombs. The evidence is just too strong and shows that they are actually doing this in order to collectively punish and murder Palestinians other than those who are in Hamas. Those were the three stories this morning regarding the renewed attacks on Gaza from Haaretz, from their reporters. Haaretz is, I think, the right pronunciation, and they are Israelis doing Israel's reporting. Next, we have the Jerusalem Post and Eve Young, who has written regarding the hostages and was a correspondent for the Jerusalem Post with the hostages. Now, the Jerusalem Post is a very conservative newspaper. They're a kill all Palestinians type newspaper. They are, imagine if the hardest right Fox News personality was a newspaper. That's the Jerusalem Post. Today, they call the renewed attacks on Gaza a death sentence for the hostages, according to Eve Young. Eve Young went through and interviewed a number of hostages who all claim that this was a mistake to go back. Now, this is shocking strictly because of the source. This is a report that's coming from the Jerusalem Post, specifically the correspondent who was dealing with the hostages' families. And we'll piggyback on that and go to the Times of Israel, where Toy Staff reports that that the Knesset member Smotrich has claimed that Israel is spending too much time listening to the hostages' families, excuse me. So let's be clear. He's saying we don't need to listen to these people. These people don't matter. The moral thing to do, according to him, is to continue to murder the Palestinian people, and whatever happens to the hostages, I guess, doesn't really matter. As you can see, this is all very concerning. We say things like this in the United States, and it's a problem, and you get attacked for it. These are things being said currently by Jewish Israelis who are in Israel and are Israeli citizens. What I said to you has nothing to do with what's being said in the United States, but rather what's being said in Israel. Why are they able to criticize? But if you say something here in the United States, it's a problem. Think about that and think about what else we're shipping over to Israel, not just your tax dollars, but we're also shipping your First Amendment rights there. And that segues to Mahmoud Khalil. I'm going to do an episode on him coming up. Now, keep in mind that most of these are going to be long form. I would really appreciate it if you could please go to my YouTube channel. I'll be doing a lot more of these there and breaking things down there. We'll be having interviews in the future as well. So if you could please go to my YouTube channel, and the link is in the bio. It's also legally blinding. I would really appreciate that. And my request is please always like, subscribe, share, comment. Thank you. And this time also go to YouTube.